watching the world. So I'm just getting to the Bronx on the train. What we're seeing now is the Bronx. And the next stop is 125th Street, Harlem. Good morning. So we're just at the top of the Bronx now. The next stop will be 125th Street, Harlem. On the way to the Sean Diddy Combs trial. This is day 12. Yesterday in court, they tried to call a mistrial because it came out, and I believe the prosecutors, well, we can't say it was definite, but they insinuated that Diddy was getting rid of evidence. At the video where we see of Cassie that was put out by CNN where she's getting beaten by Diddy, the original video went missing. And again, the word on the street was that Diddy paid someone to get rid of it. Nobody knows for sure, but I guess you could use your own imagination. But here's the thing. The only reason we have the video we have now is because at the time the security guard, Israel Flores, now he's a police officer. But at the time he was the security guard. And he took a picture of the original video with his cell phone just so he could take it and show it to his wife. And so that's where that video came from after all these years, because they literally got rid of the original video at the hotel within days. So a lot of people, I ain't gonna hold you, they feel like Diddy paid somebody to get rid of that original video. So yesterday in court, when it came to Kid Cudi's part of the deal, the officers had 2 sets of fingerprints, and someone had broken into Kid Cudi's home before, and so he provided that to the officer that testified yesterday, and so the fingerprints went missing. And so under cross-examination, they're asking this officer, like, how does evidence go missing? And then the other thing I didn't like about the trial is that he ordered all of the fingerprints of the bottle. There was a bottle in the car. There was a designer silky scarf because they made a Molotov cocktail. So in other words, they put gasoline in a bottle and they put in the silk scarf and they cut a hole through the canvas drop top roof. This is the Bronx. Well, we're into Harlem now, by the way. Sorry. So we see Harlem. The next stop is going to be 125th Street. So anyway, the bottle had a female's DNA on it. I'm going to show a lot of the pictures and evidence today. I have some of the pictures and so forth. I'm going to do a show tonight. I was so tired last night, I just had to regroup because my day starts at 3 o'clock. But anyway, whoever did it, they cut a hole in the top of Kid Cudi's car, and then they dropped this bottle. It was a 40 of liquor. I forget the name of the liquor. I don't drink beer like that. But in Old English, it was an Old English bottle, and they dropped it. They cut a hole through Kid Cudi's roof at his house. The Porsche was parked right by his garage, and there was 2 cars parked behind it. So they was like, this was a deliberate thing because you couldn't see the Porsche from the road. At any rate, they set it on fire. This bottle, they dropped it through the roof, but because of the way it was done, it did not blow up like they intended. Because the officer testified that had it blown up, it would have affected the cars around it and also burned his house as well. So anyway, the officer takes the stand. He talks about. Hold on one second. So he takes the stand. He says that there's fingerprints. He ordered fingerprints from the bottle. There's also was a lighter there, and it also came out that there was a glove in the back seat. And so basically, the fingerprints that he ordered, he never followed up with the office or anyone to find out like whose fingerprints there was. So basically, he just took the information and never followed through. So that came out in court. You would think that when an officer goes through all the trouble of collecting information that he would do something about it, but he never did. So folks, this is 125th Street, Harlem World. Let's see, I come here, I take my daughter to the Apollo. She likes to go there, I don't know why. But she has this thing for the Apollo, so this is where I bring her to. You have some good shopping here. You know, you can come here often and get soul food and whatnot. The next stop we're going to be is 42nd Street. This is New York City. Let me answer a few questions. Good morning, Mel. Your show is great. Hey, thank you. Oh, Joe, what's up, man? Joe is a big-time real estate agent. We've done a lot of deals together in the real estate world. Joe Flores is a New Yorker, but he has his hands in all sorts of deals. Him and I, we're like brothers. So check him out. His name is Joe Flores. He's a big-time real estate agent here in New York. From commercial deals, we do a lot of residential deals. I cover the financial angle, but Joe is an expert. I think if you're in another state and you really need good advice from a real estate agent, Joe Flores would be the man to talk to about that. So anyway, let's see what else. What city? New York. Hi, I'm from New Zealand. Okay, welcome from New Zealand. Bro, you run quick. They said, yeah, you're right, Kevinism. They said the cloth fell out before it ignited. So in the photos, you see that in the bottle that was supposed to be this Molotov cocktail, that there was still almost about a 40% amount of gasoline still inside of the bottle. So whoever dropped it, the cloth fell out too soon. I guess perhaps, he did say perhaps because it was made of silk. So anyway, it did burn his car. I think it was a total loss. You know, it did burn it up totally, but that's what happened. Let's see what else. Where is this at? This is New York. New York State, New York City. Good morning, 804. Okay, Joe from Texas, shout out to you. And wow, Brisbane. Thank you, Black Venison. Shout out to you. And yeah, so anyway, so because the fingerprints went missing, now let me tell you how Diddy's defense team really dropped the ball yesterday. Okay, the prosecutor painted the picture that basically Diddy paid someone to get rid of those fingerprints. And that was crazy because when they first brought up the questions to insinuate that this had happened, that's when Diddy's attorney should have stood up and did an objection. They basically let them get off 2 or 3 questions and then they stood up and did an objection. And we took a break and then they came back and they asked for a mistrial. But the judge made that very point. He was like, essentially you waited too long. You should have stood up, because he was like, well, when they asked the first question, you didn't, make a big deal about it then. We're now underground, so we'll be at 42nd Street in a minute. So that was a big deal for this case. I think it muddied the waters. Then they were debating for a long time how to present it to the jury, because the prosecutor said, well, we don't want the jury to think that the government, meaning the prosecutors, their team, made a mistake or maybe perhaps even did something malicious. So that was their angle. And so they decided, the judge finally told the jury to strike anything to do with those 2 sets of fingerprints. So in my opinion, though, you can't unhear. It's almost like one of Diddy's attorneys, the female attorney, she was like, you cannot unring a bell once you heard something. And so basically, that's what I felt. I've been in the courtroom every day since day one. And in many ways, the jurors, I could have been a juror based on my age and my walk of life. So I'm hearing everything pretty much the jurors are hearing. And right now, I'm a little skewed about this case. I think that I don't see how he could walk based on all of the facts. And then today, his assistant Mia is going to come in, and we're finishing up with the stylist that was in there yesterday. His name is Nash. I felt like he was a very bad witness, and he had this whole attitude thing going on that I think came across as bad. But anyway, I have a body language expert that's going to come on the show this weekend, and she's going to break down Cassie's body language. She's all over all the big stations, so she's going to be coming on the channel on the regular. So you're going to want to check her out, because she was sitting by me, and she's basically studying body language all day. So I'm trying to bring you guys professionals. I do these type of shows and I tell you what's happening on the fly. But when I do my shows, I try to bring on professionals and I question them according to what I heard, because a lot of things, this guy here, that guy I showed you, he's from one of the big stations. So he's also commuting with me. I think he's from CBS, but he's a big time anchor. He's been there pretty much every day as well. So we both get on the train at the same stop. So we probably are neighbors in some way. Let me tell you the problem I have with the case, right? And I'm giving you guys my opinion, and I think I have a damn good opinion, right? Oh, number one, I want to tell you guys, Gene Deal. I was there with the whole fight with Gene Deal and did not. I know both of those guys. I knew Gene Deal before this case even started. It was not a knockout, but if you go to my shorts, I show you, Denard explains how Gene Deal roughed him up, basically inside the courthouse. Gene did a live probably like around, because I actually went back in the court with Gene Deal that day. You could see us on Tisa Tales. We walk in together. But Gene Deal explained that he wanted to, because the guy was basically trolling Gene Deal all last week. So Gene says he wanted to catch him on the elevator and show him about running your mouth. So it actually happened The footage is only on the court footage because they don't allow us to take our phones inside the court. But I do have the not when comes out of court. He explains and shows on my video how Gene Deal broke his. He had some sort of accessory bracelet or something. It looked like it was electronic. But everybody's running with the story. They're saying he got knocked out, but apparently on my video you can see that there's no lesions on his face. So he didn't get knocked out, but he did get roughed up. And then I also posted a video yesterday of the exchange between Gene Deal and the knot right at the courthouse where Gene was like, you can't run up on me, I would knock you out. So that's the real deal on that. So that's just how that goes. Here's the issue I have with the trial. They have this guy, the Punisher. He came in, he testified, and basically, I'm trying not to be loud. Basically, this guy testified about being a sex worker for Diddy and Cassie. Well, turns out that they have a gag order on the case. And how is it you let him go on CNN while the case is still going? That's the crazy part about this trial. But anyway, I'm gonna pick up when we get off the train. And I'll tell you more. Yes, I see the lady for Rotten Mango. Let me go through a couple of these questions. Yeah, prosecutors. Let me go back and find. Okay, here we go. Oh, your road's steep. Yeah, we're in the mountains. Most people don't think about that for New York, but where I live at, when I walk out my front door, I see the mountains. I love Donald Trump. I went to Donald Trump's trial, and I knew he would get 34 felonies. I covered that trial as well. Trump is the only hero. Well, I would turn it, but the idea is to see New York. Yep. God bless you too. I'll be off the train in 1 minute. We're at 42nd Street.
That's all right, it's heavy. It'll take me a minute to get off. Thank you, though.
Yeah, have a good day. All right. Okay. I was telling you guys about this guy called Punisher. He was a sex worker for Sean, Diddy, Cassie. Came across as a nice guy. Came to court with everybody that he was a legitimate type of guy. He was really trying hard to prove himself. Didn't have like a very confident swagger about himself. Anyway, he explained how he got the name Punisher. Everybody thought it was he was punishing people in the bedroom. But actually he got the name Punisher because he used to play basketball, I believe in Harlem. And he was picked that name up in high school as the Punisher. I guess he was out there dunking and everything. But as I was explaining, you would think, because there is a gag order, I had did an interview with one of Diddy's team members, and I put it out on my TikTok, which is Watching the World. I think it's 24/7, 247. And the video did like almost 1 million views overnight, and then the next day they had me take it down. The other video I did of Diddy's daughters that has like 3 million views. But anyway, they had me take it down. And there's a gag order on the case, but you have me take my video down that I was doing. Well, they told me I could put it up initially, but some of the attorneys, I guess they got a little flustered by it. But how do you let, if everybody has a gag order, how do you let the Punisher go on CNN while the case is still going? And not only that, the prosecutors are dropping out, so they're leaking so much information, trying to, sway the media about how everybody feels about Diddy. So I just think that something seems off with that. Don't quite understand why it had to be like that. So this is Grand Central Station again. And so from here you can, if you were to travel to New York City, you could go back to your respective place if you want to catch a train. If you want to catch the Amtrak, you have to go into Penn Station. But this is Grand Central. They have a nice restaurant here. On this side, the other side, you see Apple. You can come here and get all your Apple products, which is pretty interesting. They have all the latest computers and phones. And if you wanted to go to Times Square, you just go right out here to the street and move on to your next destination. There's police officers. Usually they have military people here as well, all the time. So anyway, getting back to the trial. This little guy yesterday, the stylist, his name was Nash. And he said that one time Diddy was beating Cassie, and it was him, Cassie, and Mia who's going to show up today. I think she's going to be a very incriminating witness against Diddy. So I don't know, this RICO thing is getting scary for the defense. I don't know how they're going to pull this off, but hey, you never know. I don't know. Some of the jury members seem like they really love Diddy. I'll tell you that right now. But that's all I'll say about that. But anyway, he said that Diddy came in, he was beating Cassie. Everybody talks about how poor girl, she looked so small, but she was getting beat. So the two of them, Nash, which is a little guy, it don't seem like he can do a whole lot of damage. But he jumped on Diddy's back, and also Mia jumped on Diddy's back. And also they had to get the security guards involved. Now, the prosecutors are trying to paint the picture that all of Diddy's security is basically his henchmen beating people up, and it's almost like a crime organization. But this little guy yesterday, Nash, he painted the picture like it's almost like the government has people. Listen, imagine if the government, the feds show up and they say, hey, 20 years ago we got you on camera, you're doing this. And let's say they're after a big time individual, they're gonna tell you, hey, look, you're gonna get time. So we're going to Brooklyn to the courthouse. They're gonna say, hey, you're gonna get time if you don't cooperate. So I think it causes people to try to tell convincing stories, but it may not be the truth, and that's why under cross-examination, all of these people are falling apart. So I'm gonna pause here for a second for the people that are new. There's 3 trains that come from here, 4, 5, and 6. Courthouse quick, stop. I'm gonna take the 4 and 5. I want to stop at Canal Street and all these other places. Let's see, this is train 5, so let's get me to the courthouse really quick. I take the 6 on the left-hand side if I want to go to Canal 14 or one of the local places. We're going to lose reception here, and I'll pick up a minute when I get down to the courthouse district as I approach the courthouse, and we'll wrap it up as I go to court.